move on here, and let's talk about. Oh, actually, Lauren we've got a video submission from Lauren, and we're all
not even supposed to be here today.
but this is
clerks.
But this may actually be a little test for something that we've been thinking about in the future. So we'll see how this goes. So yeah, Lauren has submitted a video, and Lauren is going to be here to discuss it with us. So here we go.
Next time you get together in person or online with fellow horror fans, take out your cell phone and bring up the stopwatch feature. Then, without any context whatsoever, say Halloween 3 and start the timer. I promise you that you won't hit a minute before someone declares that everyone hated it when it came out, but they've always loved it, and that it would have done better had it only been titled Season of the Witch. Can we stop doing this? It sometimes seems that as a community we're programmed in some kind of a diabolical Pavlovian dog chasing Schrodinger's cat sort of way. Do we really need to keep repeating these things ad nauseum? We've all heard them. We all agree with them. They're cool little tidbits of knowledge, but do they do anything for our conversation once you've heard them for the 35th time? Wouldn't we rather never hear again that they used chocolate syrup for blood in Psycho? That because of Jason Goes to Hell, Jason is technically a deadite, that Stephen King doesn't like Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, that Nosferatu only blinks once in the entire film, that the shark is named Bruce, and the only damn reason he's not on screen more is because that the rig didn't work. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is based on Ed Gein. Michael Myers was originally supposed to wear a Richard Nixon mask, and the whole fucking movie doesn't work without the score. Technically, Paranormal Activity is the most successful film ever made, cost to profit, and Chucky was originally supposed to be all in Andy's head. Psycho was the first time a toilet was shown flushing. Can we just stop this? This is all well known and it's just become so rote. It's like saying bless you after a sneeze. You're not really blessing anyone by saying that, are you? And you're not really scared that they have some life-threatening respiratory infection either. We have a lot to talk about in the horror community. We've all had different experiences with the movies we've watched, the books we've read, and the experiences we've had. These factoids do nothing but give us an excuse to bob our head in agreement at about the same time. It's like some perverted game of Duck, Duck, Goose that we play. So next time when you're having a conversation with friends, please don't be tempted to mention that Bill Paxton is the only actor to be killed by an alien, the Predator, and the Terminator. Well, I mean, Lance Hendrickson probably would have a qualm with that. But anyway, just tell them about a time when you were a kid and you caught this flick on late night cable and it really stuck with you and it's changed the way you thought about film. Tell them about that book you read that really you haven't been able to get the plot out of your head since you originally sat down to read it. Defend something that gets trashed too often, or even maybe pick up a pen or a camera or a microphone and create something that the next generation can then find some small factoid about to repeat endlessly to the point where they'll annoy the hell out of all their friends.
All right. Well, I'll tell you one thing. When someone sneezes in my presence, I don't bless them. I dash holy water in their face. So that's
well, at least that's consistent.
That's what I do.
Start performing the Roman ritual immediately.
Maybe you gotta douse them with Germ-X in their face.
It's true. Holy water works better though.
Whip out that can of Lysol and go to work.
Yeah.
Garrett's in the chat. Born to be rad. Everybody go check out his channel and subscribe. But yeah, I actually really agree with a lot of what Lauren said there. I think or y'all go ahead, chime in.
I just think it really shuts down the real conversations. Like before we can talk about how we actually experienced Halloween 3, we have someone jump in there, tell us how everyone felt, and that's the end of the conversation. And I'd rather us be able to just have real conversations about our lives, not just reiterate crap that we all read or saw in the same DVD extra back 20 years ago. I think that we're a better community than that, and I think I care more about people's experiences than I do about these factoids. That's for damn sure.
I would hope those factoids would be more of a conversation starter, where somebody could say, Halloween 3, it could have been more successful. It was Season of the Witch, and it didn't have Michael Myers in it, and everybody hated it. But upon further review, if you really watch the film, it has things to offer that the rest of the series doesn't. And then you could go into the things that it actually does bring to the table besides Tom Atkins. I mean, that's all you need right there.
Yeah.
Halloween 3 is great because he's in it, but Dan O'Hurley is a great villain. I think it's his name. Am I right about
Yes.
that, Cochran? Okay.
Dan,
Yeah, great actor, scene stealer. Maybe he's the happy, jolly old man, but very sinister when he wants to be. And his story about Samhain and just the gleeful way in which he goes about his work there's a lot to love about that movie, in spite of the obvious things that we all talk about with it.
I guess I'm just tired of like videos popping up on YouTube every day that say, 10 facts about Halloween 2.
right,
And it's the
right.
same crap over again and again. And
I
it becomes
kind
the
of
whole
look at that as
conversation.
like surface thinkers. They're only looking at the surface, and they haven't bothered to allow themselves to see the entirety of the forest because they're too busy looking at the few trees in front of them. It's like their imagination does not allow them to go farther than that. Or maybe these creators don't think people actually care about the trees behind the trees, and they're just trying to get views.
Well, I think too that a lot of those videos sort of play toward the horror normies who maybe are only searching horror on YouTube around Halloween or something like that. And I mean, for us hardcore,
that's where you get the.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were freezing up. I didn't mean to talk over you.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, I think for us hardcore horror fans, I mean, it's kind of like when you watch, an interview with John Carpenter about Halloween. You know all the stories. You've heard all the stories. You see that John Carpenter could care less because he's talked about this movie for 50 years. So he has no enthusiasm to talk about it anymore. So I mean, I kind of get it, and I think that can spill over into we're all hardcore horror fans. We know everything that there's. We've heard the stories. We've all talked about Halloween 3 would have been better if it just called Season of the Witch or blah blah blah. But I think if we open up a new dialogue, maybe we can expand our horror vocabulary to include other movies than just the Halloween 3s and the Psychos and so on and so forth.
Like, why can't we talk about how Psycho 2, while maybe not as classic as the original, because nothing could be, is still a very worthwhile sequel.
It's an excellent movie.
Mm-hmm.
And in and of itself is an excellent film, and actually one that I prefer to watch it's my go-to Psycho film.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, but everybody else is going to just talk about the shower scene or the chocolate syrup because the world didn't open. I always thought I was, like we always say, we thought we were alone in the way we feel about these movies until we got on the internet and met other people that thought the way we did, and again, our world opened up because we were just used to the small amount of humans we were around in our own little, echoverse or whatever you want to call it, your little physical limitation world. The first time that opened up for me was when I went to my first horror convention in 2000. And I was in the room while they were doing a Q&A for Friday the 13th. And I was just gobsmacked. I was mind blown that there were people that were even more rabid about some of these films than I was. And I didn't know these type of people existed. And that was before I got on the internet, right around that time. But we didn't have this platform. There was no YouTube or not even MySpace at that time. There was maybe some chat rooms or something if you really knew where to look. But other than that, it was very minimal. So, that's what was kind of like my Psycho pullback moment, like Spielberg used in Jaws, where it's like everything just kind of, the world gets bigger. It's like, wow, this is amazing. So a lot of times you get used to talking to the normal people that don't watch these movies. And that's all they know is the little factoids that they've read in TV Guide or some magazine or seen in a blurb or something that on the back of a box of a video.
Mhm.
But they never bothered to learn anything more because it never really occurred to them because that's not how their brain works, right?
Mhm.
So a lot of these guys that make these videos, they're trying to get views, they're trying to get ad revenue, they're trying to make money. So if you get too obscure and too far and too deep into the minutia, you're going to lose. You're going to lose a lot of the people, and your view count's going to represent that. You may make more interesting content for people like us, but if we don't find you, it might take a while for anything to happen, and you might feel like you're just wasting your time. So in a way, I completely agree with everything you said in that video, but I also understand how that can be conversation starters to pull in people that aren't necessarily as deep as we are.
I don't think, though. I mean, my big point is that I want to know about people's personal experiences. Those tidbits are available; they're out there in the same way you probably first came across them. The first time you read about. Most of us found out about the shark from Jaws being named Bruce was probably we picked up that Jaws log tie-in book or something like that, or you watched a DVD extra. So us repeating them is not very interesting to me because all that's out there and available. But you know what, Mike, the first time you saw Jaws, that's a story I don't know. And I bet there's a lot there to explore. I rather would deal with each other's personal experiences with these movies and these novels and these comic books and these rock albums than just these factoids. I just believe that the better conversation to start begins with, hey, you know, when I was growing up, ...
I get it. You know, of course, Bruce was Spielberg's lawyer.
Mhm.
Sorry about that. I had to
Mhm.
do it. I had to. But personal experience with Jaws, saw it in the theater because it was common to re-release them when sequels came out. Saw it in the theater before Jaws 2. It was a double feature in the theater. That was a lot for a 10-year-old to grasp. But it was monumental, and that's why Jaws is probably one of my favorite films ever. I got to see Jaws, speaking of that, a couple of weeks ago at a drive-in theater. Amazing experience. I mean, it was amazing. I wish I could have seen it that way the first time, but now I've seen it in every way you could possibly see that movie, except for that damn laser disc that Christian Hanna horror has. That asshole.
That
You
is
know,
cool, though. It's
no, that's an
cool.
amazing set that he's got, and I would kill
Yeah.
to see that because that looks
Yeah.
amazing. But I've
Yeah.
seen VHS, Beta, TV, theater, DVD, Blu-ray. I saw it in the theater again a couple years ago when it was re-released, and now I saw it at the drive-in. And wow, that's a movie that just doesn't age. It is a true classic to me. It's as good the 100th time as it was the first time,
Mhm.
and it's an amazing flick. So that's kind of my personal story with Jaws. That's why it's always going to be in my top 5, maybe my top 1. It might be my favorite movie of all time, just because of when I saw it, how I saw it, how it affected me. Everybody's afraid of the ad campaign just when you thought it was safe to
Yeah.
go in the water and all that kind of stuff. And being consumed alive, I think, is any animal's fear. Why do you think squirrels are nervous? Right? Because nobody wants to be consumed while they're still alive, and a shark represents that. That's the apex predator of the ocean, which we are not king of. Like, if a shark comes on land, we can beat the shit out of it, but in the water, it's got a distinct advantage. So, but yeah, I know the shark didn't look blah blah, but whatever. It's a great flick. It's expertly made, and it's one of those movies that I can watch over and over again. And I watch it right around the 4th of July every year on Blu-ray anyway. But I was happy to go hop my ass in the car and go out to the drive-in to watch it again because that was one experience I had not had with the film, and I'm glad I did.
I did it last summer too.
Does anybody?
Now I want to see it. I want to see it that one place where you actually float around in the water.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
That's the experience that I want.
As far as-
that'd be an experience. Yeah.
as far as these like these countdown videos go, where they're just giving you trite, shallow information, I really do think that is more for clicks. I really do think that. And I also think that maybe They are very popular, but I think it's because not everybody likes to go so in depth into movie information, maybe as we do. I search out, people like you guys. I search out, information on movies. I will search out good channels that go deeper, I try when I'm talking about movies to, involve myself, to involve my experience with them. I won't, obviously you can't talk about a movie you've never seen, right? So pretty much everything that I talk about is going to have some personal angle to it, because I view everything through, like the lens of my experience. So I think you're right, Lauren. I think that the way to start drawing people into the community is actually to be more personable about ourselves and give more of ourselves to our stories that we're telling about these movies. I mean, it's fine to tell the factoids, and we can all love the factoids, and, we can even add them into our story here and there. But really deep down, using Jaws as an example, obviously Jaws to me is extremely special because that is the movie that brought me into everything. I saw it at the drive-in with my parents when I was 3. They didn't want me awake. And I did it anyway. I watched it anyway. And it started me out on this path. And I thank God for that every day. So I think that bringing ourselves, our own experiences into what we're talking about is very important.
Yeah.
And also, Lauren, as a music fan, we tend to listen to music differently than your average person that just uses it as background music. Like when I'm listening to a song, I'm listening to all the instruments individually at the same time and how they're working together. Like a cymbal crash at a certain moment can add everything to a song. And most people are just bopping to the beat, or they're singing along because they're only listening to the lyrics. I'll go, did you hear that? What? I was listening to the lyrics, man. And that's what bothered me about the Black Album with Metallica, is that after that album came out, every time they heard a heavy song, that sounds like Metallica. No, it fucking doesn't. It doesn't sound like anything like Metallica. What the fuck are you talking about? But you have to deal with some of that sometimes. You just understand that just because I was a kid reading Fangoria and Famous Monsters and all these magazines, trying to find out every little piece of information I could about the films I loved, to most people, I was just the weird kid. So now we're the weird kids, but we're on the internet, but we're still dealing with that surface level type of hype.
My favorite Dave Mustaine interview. Yeah, Lars and I are good. We're friends. Yeah, we're pretty close. Yeah, he's an awful drummer though. ask any good drummer. They'll tell you he's an awful drummer. He's not good. My buddy AJ brings up an interesting point here too, that the videos, such and such a movie ending explained videos. Those are some, I don't want to throw shade on anybody or any genre, but why do you want the ending of the movie explained for you? And so many of those videos I see too, it's like Encino Man ending explained. I don't need that movie, the ending of it explained to me. You know what I mean? Like, what is there to explain?
As clickbait, it's brilliant though, because buried in the title of the video is a suggestion that you don't get it, that there's something more. So you're likely to click on something even though you completely got it, simply because why would they make a video unless there's a deeper meaning? So it's kind of a brilliant marketing ploy, but it's like dumbass to watch,
It's funny because it reminds me of that Twin Peaks Actually Explained video that everybody was going so crazy about there about a year ago, because this guy, Rossiter on Twin Perfect, that's the name of the channel, he did like this 4-hour video explaining all of season 3, and people were like arguing. They're still arguing about it to this day. It really, really ticked a lot of people off, but I liked it. I watched it. The guy put like 2 years of work into the video, and into his work towards the video and all his research. I think it was fantastic, and I think he deserves credit for what he did.
Yeah, Jamie, you know what? That's the opposite of what I'm talking about, right? That's someone digging deep. And that's the thing, like, I agree with most of his video, by the way. Not all of it, most of it, though. But what I'd say is that's the kind of content we need. People who really dig in and give us something full and robust. And they do that because they love it. We can stop with this asinine argument that, oh, don't push your opinion on other people. It's the internet. It's the English language. It was invented for that. We're not pushing an opinion. We're presenting it.
Yes.
And we shouldn't have to say, in my opinion, before we say every goddamn thing that comes out of our mouths. It's obviously our opinion because it came out of my goddamn mouth.
I don't know. I need some help understanding the psychological complexities of monkey bone. So, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes I need those videos.
There's more to that movie than Rose McGowan's cleavage.
A little bit. You'd be surprised.
There's a lot
I
of
don't think
hidden
there
depths.
is.
A lot of hidden depths there. There's one little tidbit I'm sure you don't know about, Lauren, and you're gonna be wild right
Here
here.
it comes.
Did you know that the mask in Halloween was originally a William Shatner Star Trek mask? I bet you didn't know that, did you?
Well, originally it was a Nixon mask, but yes.
But the other
that
choice
didn't
was
work at
possibly
all.
a clown mask, which they then put on the young Michael at the beginning.
Yeah.
an Emmett Kelly clown mask. Yeah. Wow. Gosh, man.
Well,
Let's turn
mind
this.
blown.
Let's turn this channel into a we all just bring 10 facts about movies to the table. That's next episode.
We
Yeah,
broke new
cool.
ground on that one, guys. Good
Yeah.
job.
10 facts about Howling 3, the marsupials.
Oh God, no, you're not stealing my idea, Lauren. You're not stealing my idea. It was shot in Australia.
Philippe Mora was doing a lot of drugs while making this film. Obviously.
I love Philippe Mora.
More clips just like this. Be sure to subscribe to the Region Free YouTube channel and also check out the Patreon to get exclusive content and become a Regionaire.